Everybody wants to be good in basketball, but you become great by understanding the role of offense and defense, determination, and being the total player. This video series primarily deals with the offensive side of the game. By watching this series with your friends, coaches, and family members, you will have a complete understanding of the role shooting plays in the most exciting game of my life. In so many ways, basketball is like the game of life. There are many times when we have to make decisions that will impact our life forever. In this series, we're going to teach the best drills that the game has taught me, but we are also going to be giving tips about life, working together as a team, and more importantly, what you believe. You can believe in yourself, and that is important, but everyone has a more important decision to make in life about values and your faith in God. That's what makes our video series different. We plan to teach life and values with every shot. That's the ultimate goal. Hey, you better bring lots of water, because this is where the talking stops and the shooting begins. The key to being a great shooter is to be fundamentally sound. The same principles that my father taught me when I was a 9-year-old boy apply to me now as I play in the NBA. It all starts with the basics. I'm talking about the beef. The beef, what does that stand for? Balance, elbows in, eyes on the rim, and following through. Let's start with B, balance. Now the best way to stay balanced on a shot is to shoot out of the triple threat position. It starts with your stance. You want your feet to be shoulder width apart. You want your right foot to be slightly in front of your left if you're right-handed. And if you're left-handed, you want your left to be slightly in front of your right. The next thing you want to know is that you need to have your knees bent. Your legs become very important in your shot, especially as you move farther out, as you become a better shooter. You want the power in your legs to carry your shot. So your knees are bent, your legs are shoulder width apart, and you need to have your weight centered. Your head needs to be centered and your weight centered so you're not leaning left or right on your shot. Now that we've got our stance, let's talk about our hand position. Your hands should be on both sides of the ball. Your hands should be slightly behind the basketball. Your elbows should be in to your side so you're in a relaxed position. Now from this position, you can do three things. You can pass the basketball, you can dribble, or you can shoot. That's why it's called the triple threat position. You may not be aware, but the human head weighs between 7 and 12 pounds. Now normal people like myself have a head that weighs about 7 to 9 pounds. But if you're a guy like my teammate Charles Barkley, you might have a 12-pound head. Now it's time for a championship moment that comes from the ultimate champion in my life. We've just been spending a lot of time talking about the importance of balance in your shot. But right now I just want to take a few moments to talk about the importance of balance in your life. The way that I stay balanced in life is to set priorities. There's a Bible verse, Matthew 6:33, that says to seek God first and His righteousness, and then everything else will come after that. I think we should always put the love of God first, then family, then friends, and then everything else under that. If you will put God first in your life, He will give you balance. Now the next part of beef is E, elbows in. I want you to take a ball for a second and just hold it with your elbows out like this. Just hold it there for a few seconds. Now I want you to relax and bring your elbows into your side. You see how tense you are with your elbows out and how relaxed you are with your elbows in? Well, that's the way you want to feel when you shoot the basketball. A lot of coaches teach just to keep your shooting elbow in, and it doesn't matter about your other elbow. The problem with that is you have a tendency to shove your shooting elbow out if your other elbow is out. So you want both elbows in. That's where you're going to shoot the ball comfortably. Now a great way to remember to bring the ball up and keep that elbow in is what I call the quick draw method. It's like drawing a gun, drawing a pistol right from your side. That's the way you're going to shoot the ball. What this will do every time is keep your elbow in, plus you're going to be shooting the ball slightly to the right side of your head. That's where I like to shoot the ball. The reason is it won't block my vision. So the ball's not in front of my face, it's right here. I've got great vision, and it also helps keep your elbow in every time. And the last key to remember is to point your elbow towards the basket. This way, wherever your elbow is pointed, most likely the ball will go. That's keeping your elbows in. Okay, we've talked about balance and keeping our elbows in. Now let's move on to the eyes. It's very important to keep your eyes on the rim all the way through your shot. To me, it's one of the most important aspects of beef, because if you take your eyes off your goal, you're going to miss left or right. The only way you can shoot straight is to stay focused on your target, the rim. Now, I personally like to look at the front of the rim, and here at Golden Rule Sports Camps, that's like what we like to teach, to shoot up and over the front of the rim, find a point on the rim directly in the front of the rim and try to shoot up and over that. And remember, you got to keep your head in there the whole time. You want your head straight, looking at that front of the rim. Now there are coaches that teach to look at the back of the rim, and that's okay. Whatever you do, you need to be consistent and do it the same way every time. Many people think that the shooting starts when you step on the court, but really it starts way before that. I'm talking about mental preparation. The first thing you need before you start shooting is a positive mental attitude. Your positive attitude is your want to. I mean, you've got to want to go out on the court. You've got to want to get better. There's no room in this game for stinking thinking. I have a lot of people that come up to me and ask what I need to do to be a better shooter. The key is you have to be ready to listen, and you've got to be ready to learn. And the best way to learn is by watching others. That's what I did. I had my brothers, I had my father. I grew up watching their game, trying to do the things that they did. And that's a great way to learn. Now that we've gone mental, it's time to get to the court. The last letter of beef is F, and it stands for the follow-through. Let's talk about hand position. First thing you want to do is spread your fingers wide on the ball. You want the ball off the palm of your hand. You want it on the finger pads or the fingerprints of your fingers. And the last thing you want to remember is to line up right on the seam of the basketball, especially when you're practicing. This will help you tell if your backspin is correct. When you shoot the ball, you want a nice soft backspin. And when you line up on the seams, it'll tell you if it's spinning correctly. Now remember, when you shoot the shot, it's not a throw. You're not shooting like this. It's up and over the rim. So when you shoot, remember to release the ball high. You remember when you were really little, you used to sneak into the kitchen and try to sneak your hand into that cookie jar when Mom wasn't looking? That's the way your shot should look when you finish. You should finish high, flick that wrist. It's almost like dipping your hand in the cookie jar. And remember, when you shoot your follow-throughs, you need to hold it all the way through the shot. Without the follow-through, you haven't finished your shot. All right, that's enough talk. Let's go out and get up some shots. Now, a lot of times, I see young people go out and try to start out shooting behind the three-point line. They're throwing up shots before they're ready. What you want to do is start in close. It's called form shooting. Before you ever start to play, you want to get in close and get in a lot of shots, form shooting. A lot of repetitions. You want to get in, pick about 5 spots right here close in front of the rim, and remember, we're working on the beat. You just want to stay in here, get in a lot of shots. Working on your form. After you get up several shots from that spot, you want to move to another spot. Remember, we're shooting out of the triple threat position. Balance, our elbows in, our eyes on the rim, and we're following through. The more form shooting that you do, the better shooter you're going to be. Now let's take a break for a championship moment. As we talked about earlier, one of the key principles to being a great shooter is keeping your eyes focused on the rim. Now there's a key verse in the Bible that means a lot to me. Let me share it with you. It's found in Philippians 3:14. And it says that I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. Here's the bottom line. We need to keep our eyes on the ultimate goal of serving Jesus Christ. He's the one that cares for you. He's the one that has a plan for you. And you need to focus your eyes on Him. All right, now we're going to do a drill called rapid fire shooting. What you want to do on this drill is pick about 5 different spots on the court. You'll start at the first spot and you'll have 30 seconds. Your partner will have 2 balls. You're going to try to see how many shots you can make in 30 seconds just from one spot. Now remember, don't rush your shot. You still want to take your time, you want to concentrate, you want to balance, eyes on the rim, elbows in, and follow through. Beef doesn't change. All right, now that we're warmed up with our rapid fire shooting, let's take some more spot shots around the horn. What you're going to do this time is again pick 5 spots around the perimeter. You'll start in the corner, you'll move to the wing, you'll take a shot from the top, move to the opposite wing, and then finally you'll end up in the opposite corner. 5 shots. After that, you'll repeat yourself. You'll come back around the horn. So you're going to end up taking 10 shots. Now remember, your form doesn't change. The beef is always the same. You want to concentrate. Also, you want to remember it's very important to complete your shot before you move to the next spot. I got to start better. You got to start with a better looking shot. That's the pro rule. Start on the make. NBA rule.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, wait a minute. Did I just miss that shot?
Yeah.
Hold it. Wait, hold on a second. It's in my contract. You promised you would not show me missing any shots.
Oh, well, sorry.
That's it. I can't deal with it. I'm a basketball player, not a comic. I just want to take a few moments here to talk about the importance of free throw shooting. A lot of people don't realize just how important the free throw shot is. Just about every game I've ever played has been won and lost at the free throw line. I've even seen some major championship games lost because a guy couldn't step up and hit a free throw. The thing about a free throw that's different than a game shot is that you have a lot of time. You can really gather yourself and use your form shooting. But the mental aspect of the free throw shot is what really comes into play. A lot of people and a lot of players take the free throw shot for granted. They think it's an easy shot. You can just step up and shoot it. But really, it's a very tough shot. You're on the free throw line all by yourself. A lot of people watching. You really need to take your time and concentrate and shoot your form the way we've been talking about. All right, let's get down to the mechanics. Remember, the beef doesn't change. You still want to start in your triple threat position. Let's talk about your stance. Shoulder width apart. Your right foot slightly ahead of your left. Here's a little tip for you. There's always or usually a nail hole or some indicator of what's straight to the basket. So I always like to line my right foot up right on that nail hole. Remember, our knees are bent, our elbows are in, our hands are on the sides of the ball. Those things never change. Now, another important thing about free throw shooting is rhythm and routine. You want to shoot the free throw the same way every time. Now, my personal rhythm is this. I take 3 dribbles, I take a deep breath, and then I shoot my shot. All right, so you see, I take 3 dribbles. I know some players that take 1, I know some players that take 10, and there's others that don't take any. The important thing is to do it the same way every time. You've got to find your own rhythm and stick with it. All right, now let's take a few free throws together. Don't forget to concentrate. Here's a little tip for you. If you take a deep breath and let it out right before you shoot, it'll help you relax. All right, we've been talking a lot about the basics of form shooting. Now, there are a few other basic shots in basketball that everyone needs to learn. Let's talk about the layup first. When you're shooting a layup and you're coming in on the right side, you're going to be shooting with your right hand. You need to be going off your opposite leg, which will be your left leg on the right side. Now you want to go in at a 45-degree angle. That's very important that your angle is good. You're going to be looking at the top corner of the square. That's where you're going to be aiming. And it's like your knee and your arm are attached as you're coming up. Remember, you want to high jump and not long jump, and lay it high up off the glass. Now if you're a left-hand shooter, nothing changes for you except you're going to go off your right foot and lay it up with your left hand. Everything else is the same. And remember, whoever you are, you need to be able to shoot a layup with both hands. All right, let's move on to the bank shot. Now when you're shooting shot off the glass, it's important to remember you got to be at a 45-degree angle. You come down to the block and move out, but usually it'll keep you at a very good angle. Now when you shoot, everything stays the same. Your mechanics of beef stay the same, except for your eyes. Instead of focusing on the rim, the front of the rim, you're going to move and focus on the top corner of the square. And that's what you're going to aim for. Everything else stays the same. And remember, shoot it high and soft off the glass. When you're shooting a bank shot, if you're at a good angle or you're taking it to the basket, the bank shot is a very high percentage shot. All right, now let's talk about the jump shot. When you're shooting the jump shot, remember the mechanics don't change. You're just adding a jump to your shot. When you get strong enough and ready to do this, remember when you shoot the basketball, you want to release the basketball at the height of your jump and you want to land straight up and straight down. And last, there's the behind the back shot. It's a surefire way to get yourself back on the bench, so don't shoot it. You know what? It doesn't matter what level you're on, you always have to go back to the basics. I'm in the NBA and I still have to go back to the basics daily and practice my shot. I personally have a bad habit of pulling my head out of my shot. I have a tendency to lift my head and want to watch the ball. What this causes me to do is shoot the ball short. So even I have to go back daily and practice and make sure I'm working on the beef. You know, we've talked a lot about the fundamentals of shooting. And the more you shoot and the more you work on these drills that we've talked about, the better shooter you're going to become. The bottom line is there are going to be times when you just miss the mark. No matter how long I play the game, there's those days when I just can't hit a shot. In our lives, sometimes it's the same way. We miss our mark. We mess up. The Bible calls this sin. Let me just read some verses about what God promises that He can do for us. If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just and will forgive us of our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. Isn't that an awesome promise from God? That no matter how bad we mess up, if we'll just turn to Him for help, He'll be there waiting on us. I hope you'll turn to God for help today. Thanks for watching the basics of shooting. Hopefully along the way you've learned a little bit about mental preparation, having a positive mental attitude, readiness to listen and learn, and learning by watching others. We also learned a lot about beef. The beef, what does that stand for? Balance, elbows in, eyes on the rim, and following through. So your knees are bent, legs are shoulder width apart, and you need to have your weight centered. Your head needs to be centered and your weight centered so you're not leaning left or right on your shot. Now the next part of beef is E, elbows in. Point your elbow towards the basket. This way, wherever your elbow is pointed, most likely the ball will go. It's very important to keep your eyes on the rim all the way through your shot. Find a point on the rim directly in the front of the rim and try to shoot up and over that. The last letter of beef is F, and it stands for the follow-through. You want the ball off the palm of your hand. You want it on the finger pads or the fingerprints of your fingers. When you shoot the ball, you want a nice soft backspin. And when you line up on the seams, it'll tell you if it's spinning correctly. Remember to release the ball high. Here's a little visual to think about when you're doing shooting. Look how big the rim is. This ball fits through here easily. When you're shooting the shot, you got to get it up and over so it'll have a chance. You should never miss. It's so big. Hey, when do I get to Elvis impersonation? Now there are a few other basic shots in basketball that everyone needs to learn. Let's talk about the layup first. You're going to be looking at the top corner of the square. That's where you're going to be aiming. And it's like your knee and your arm are attached as you're coming up. All right, let's move on to the bank shot. If you come down to the block and move out, That usually will keep you at a very good angle. You're going to move and focus on the top corner of the square. And that's what you're going to aim for. Everything else stays the same. Now let's talk about the jump shot. Remember, when you shoot the basketball, you want to release the basketball at the height of your jump, and you want to land straight up and straight down. Don't forget the beat. He's making an idiot out of me.
Hey, give me the face. I'm the best.
How about I just give it? Just remember to keep pressing on toward the goal to win. Until the next video, God bless and thanks for watching Pro Basketball Workout.